Summary of Daf Samachay of Torah Ohr, and we're going to learn two Maimarim here. The first one is actually a biur, an explanation on the previous Maimar about the male and female horses, and the Dim Maskos Vashem Holoch Lefneim, and then the second one about the Mon Dim Maskos Vayomem Moshe. So first Maimar Vashem Holoch Lefneim Yomam. So the pasuk says that Hashem went before the camp of the Jewish people as they were leaving Egypt, and it uses the term Ver Hashem with a vav, which means Hashem and is based in, which refers to the Shekhinah. So the Shekhinah was in front of the Jewish camp, and then as they approached the Yam Suf, it moved to the back of the camp as Pari approached. And this is similar to Pari as well, that Pari had the as he was chasing the Jewish people, he had the female horses in the front, male in the back, and then as he approached Kriyas Yamsuf and the Jewish people, he flipped them around. So we're going to explain what this represents, both with Pari and with the Hashem and the Jewish people, al pi Chassidus. So now we know that the spiritual system is that our efforts, our esrus l'sata, our arousal from below, awakens esrus l'ela, so that through us doing our best to lift ourselves and our surroundings up to Hashem, so then Hashem responds by giving us, being mamshich to us, His light and bracha, etc. So the sort of the provider, and then what the Ur of Hashem, which we have in our worlds in Bia, Bria, and Asiya, comes from Malchus of Atzilus. So Malchus is normally in a state of descent and nurturing the lower worlds. But then what we want to do is Esros Lusata. So Malchus, the Shekhinah, it rises up towards Atzilus, lifting us also up towards Atzilus, and then Hashem responds in kind with giving us responding with His light, and that is the concept of Yetzias Mitzrayim, that we who are, and Malchus, which is within the confines of Bia, which definitely the physical world, but even the spiritual worlds in Bia are limited, and then going up to Atzilus and getting receiving the light from Atzilus is the which is unlimited light. That is the freedom, the liberation of Yetzias Mitzrayim. And that's the idea of starting off with the female horses, which is our efforts, the recipient's efforts, and then receiving, and then through the recipient being excited and drawing towards the mashpia then also is excited and gives to the makabel, to the recipient. Now, in Galus, it says that Hashem was with us in Galus, and then the Yetzias Mitzrayim, the Exodus, is also for Hashem. The Shekhinah, which is Malchus, it is also redeemed. Now, what did Pari want to do? He wanted to do the exact opposite. That start off with the makabel, the recipient's avera, and then from that reach a makif of klippa, a sort of surrounding, a beyond energy of klippa, of impurity, and but Hashem moving from the front of the camp to the back of the camp was meant to mirror this. Now, so in Shema we have that's how we are liberated. Shema starts off with our efforts, being mispain and reflecting about Hashem and Hashem's greatness in the pasuk of Shema, which that brings to an ava, and then we're gifted a greater ava from above in V'hayim Shemaya, where it says instead of V'ahavta you shall love la'ava, which is ava is like a sort of infinitive verb. It's to have love, with it's the same pronunciation as the noun ava, and that is the gift of ava from Hashem, and the Yetzias Mitzrayim, and that's why in the third paragraph in Vayoma we talk about the Yetzias Mitzrayim through coming close to Hashem. But even when we have this esrus de l'ela, the arousal from above, responding to our esrus de l'sata, our arousal from below, but it's still limited because it's only according to the esrus de l'sata is the response. And because Malchus, it only has a relationship until Chachma of Atzilus, so therefore the response can only be from within Atzilus, because Malchus, which is connected to speech, so the idea of speech comes from Chachma, like the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, that it's beyond Bina, because Bina is what we understand, whereas Chachma is sort of the revelation of the subconscious. And the fact that our mouth moves in a particular way to produce certain sounds, it's without our efforts. We don't know how our mouth is moving; it just moves to the right place. So that's from Chachma, but still, it doesn't reach beyond Chachma. And then there's another esrus d'leila, and that's another type of gift from Hashem, which is not a response to our efforts. It's just a pure gift, and it's beyond something we could ever reach through our efforts, even if we tried. And that is a gilui from Keser. Which, like on Shabbos, there's a gilui from Keser, and similarly at Kriyas Yamsuf, there was this gilui from Keser, like Hashem says, why are you crying out to me? Now, Yudke Vavke in this pasuk where it says Vayom Havaya El Moshe Matitzakela, so the Yudke Vavke is Zah, is the midas of Atzilus, whereas Hashem says, why are you crying out to me? This is beyond me, meaning beyond Atzilus. This is dependent on Atik, which is in Keser, which is beyond worlds, even beyond Atzilus. And that's why Moshe told them to be quiet. Hashem will fight for you, because this is something beyond what we can relate to and reach ourselves. So you just be quiet, and the revelation is coming from above. And when this revelation comes, so then dry land and sea is all the same. Normally, dry land is a lower level, which is revealed worlds, and sea represents hidden worlds. But when there's a revelation of Keser, of this light of Hashem beyond any world, so then high worlds, low worlds are all the same. And how do we connect to that? Hashem gifts us by allowing us to connect to this revelation from beyond through our mitzvahs. And that's why Keser is the same numerical value as 620, which is the 613 biblical mitzvahs and 7 rabbinic mitzvahs. And although it's beyond us, but we're able to take it through the mitzvahs. Just like we can't hold a soul, but when we hold someone's hand and move or hold a baby and carry the baby, inside the baby is a soul. So we're in effect holding the soul as well. So when we do a mitzvah, we're holding the physical mitzvah. Inside is this light from Keser, from beyond all worlds. And therefore that is a source of simcha, because when there's revelation, especially revelation from beyond, so then that causes also the expression of simcha, of joy. Now, when the Jewish people left Egypt, then Hashem was in the front of the camp, because when we say Hashem, we're saying Hashem, it's Hashem's basin, which is the Shekhinah, was in the front of the camp, because the Shekhinah was beyond the Jewish people, so therefore it's in the front. Whereas at Kriyas Yamsuf, the Jewish people are beyond Hashem's Shekhinah, because the Shekhinah is only Malchus of Atzilus. Whereas then there was, at the time of Kriyas Yamsuf, there was a revelation of Keser, of Hashem's unlimited light beyond Atzilus. And that's why the Shekhinah, Hashem's Shekhinah and basin, moves to the back of the camp at the time of Kriyas Yamsuf. And this is something beyond Malchus. Malchus doesn't reach Keser except on Ne'ilah of Yom Kippur, and even then a low level Keser, and therefore it went to the back of the camp. So this concludes the first mimer. Now for the second mimer, the pasuk says, "Vayom Moshe ichlu hayom." That Moshe said to eat the mon. This is on Shabbos, because throughout the week they got a portion each day. Then on Friday they received a double portion. Then on Shabbos they didn't receive any portions. He says to eat the second half of yesterday's portion today on Shabbos. Question one is, why didn't the mon fall on Shabbos? We know rain falls on Shabbos, and in general, Hashem is involved in the world on Shabbos, keeps the world going on Shabbos like other days. So why not mon? Also, why does it say eat the mon today on Shabbos. They ate them on every day, not just Shabbos. How is Shabbos in a way specifically connected to man? Furthermore, it says that this will be a test to see if if you'll go in the ways of the Torah. So what is the connection between man and a test to see if we go in the ways of the Torah? So now, Torah is letters, and these letters are also from the word asa, to bring. They bring Hashem's light down into the world and also lift us up to Hashem. And because Hashem is really beyond worlds, and it's only a ray from his name, a very sort of a minuscule ray of Hashem's light, which is actively involved in giving, in energizing worlds. But we're able to connect Hashem himself, and this is the meaning of Kinis Kov Shemo Levade. Hashem's name is above, alone, and only his glory, the glory of his name, is energizing the earth and heaven. But that Hashem cares and he lifts his nation, and we're called Nekrei, Hashem's close nation. So we are able to connect Hashem beyond the limited ray within his shalshalos that the worlds receive. Now, because this light of Hashem that we receive through Torah mitzvahs is beyond the world, so it can only come into the world through a tzimtzum, and that's why it says about Matan Torah, Hashem b'tzeis misayer, when Hashem came out and all this high level of godliness was revealed, it had to be misayer. Sayer simply is a place, but sayer also means hair. So and the idea of hair is to, even though it comes from the head or from whichever part of the body, it has limited amount of chayas, because it goes through a symptom, a contraction. There's a blockage between inside the brain and the hair, and that's why when you cut it off, it doesn't hurt. So there had to be a symptom in order for Hashem to be this high level of godliness to be revealed at Matan Torah, and in general through the Yidden's Torah and mitzvahs. And that's why it says that just as the world can't continue without wind, it can't continue without Bnei Yisrael. It says in the Gemara. So the meanings also, ruach besides wind also means directions. So just as when the idea of having place, directions, which is one of the basic settings of the world, time and place. So just as that's needed in order for the world to exist as something separate, so too they need Am Yisrael, who bring Hashem's light from beyond into the world. Now, the Malachim wanted the Torah too, but the Torah was given specifically to Am Yisrael, who went through the subjugation of and slavery in Egypt. And this is not just something that happened in the past, but every day we have to leave Egypt. And we do this in our davening, and to refine our space in the world, and to try to jump out towards Hashem, to cleave and be one with Hashem. On weekdays, both in our davening and in our eating, we're trying to refine, like we said, find the godly sparks, lift them up to Hashem, and then push down the clip of the shell of impurity that hides Hashem. And therefore, we say in davening, we say Slach Lanu, that Hashem should forgive us. We say Ashamnu, we have been guilty, we've sinned. Chatanu, because we're trying to push down the bad and lift up what can be elevated. Whereas on Shabbos, it's just pure bliss. We're not dealing with a fight. We're not dealing with refinement. We're just beyond and trying to connect Hashem as He is beyond. And so therefore, we don't say those prayers in our davening. And our eating is different too. It's not about refining. It's just about that our enjoyment should mirror the enjoyment in Hashem, and just reflect that spiritual enjoyment. And it's about just pure pleasure. And this is connected to the mon. So mon fell throughout every day throughout the week. It was eaten even on Shabbos, but it didn't fall on Shabbos. So the mon was a test. Will we keep the Torah? So simply that means, will we be worried about tomorrow, that we don't yet have our food for tomorrow? They only got one day at a time. But at a deeper level, it's about that Torah is about bringing Hashem's light down to us and us up to Hashem. One represents this blig vol, this unlimited light of Hashem, and therefore it inspires us in our Torah that we're never satisfied. You can always go higher and higher because Hashem is unlimited. Now, throughout the week, it would actually fall, whereas on Shabbos, they ate it, and actually that was the best eating of man, and that's why it says eat it today, because the eating of man on Shabbos reflects the fact that the day is just Hashem returning to himself and just having pure pleasure in himself. And so too we're just having pleasure and closeness to Hashem. So therefore eat it today. But it didn't come down on Shabbos because there's no birurim, there's no refinement on Shabbos. It's just beyond worlds, not refining worlds. And if it would come down, it would require this symptom of sar, of hair, and that it wouldn't be appropriate on Shabbos where we're beyond worlds, therefore it stopped on Shabbos. But other things that come down from lights come down from Hashem, because they're chitzonius, they're the externals of the world, so that doesn't get affected. Only the pnimius, the inner life of the world, is what gets affected. In other words, superficially, Hashem is still keeping the world going. It's just that his inner light goes back to its source, just like when a person is doing something but without being focused internally. So that's how it is on Shabbos. His inner self goes up to his source, and man, which represents the inner self, therefore ceased on Shabbos.